And I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, I just enrolled in the graphic design program. He was like, oh, you weren't already?
Hello and welcome to Did I Do That? It's a podcast about making graphic design and making mistakes because it's all part of the process. I'm Sean Schumacher, and joining me today, a very special guest. She's a native Oregonian and freelance senior graphic designer whose work ranges from production that is painstakingly accurate and fast-paced to activations and branding, where a lot of exciting parts and pieces come together. Previously, she served in roles at We Make PDX, The Study, Brave New Day, and Flight Deck Studio, and she was one of my students back in the day. It's Celestia Caredio. Did I do it right? I feel like I fucked it up. Caredio. Celestia Caredio, the inventor of the car radio.
Don't quote us on that.
Yeah, it's when you're a teacher, you're very rarely saying anyone's last name is the thing. Thank you for being here, Celestia, on this very early morning, this very gray morning in October. It is, of course, the spooky season. The spooky season is upon us.
Yes, it is.
Are you a big fan of spooky seasons?
Oh, big fan. Big fan. We've been decorating for a month and a half now.
Really?
Yeah.
So you are getting way out ahead of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We look forward to it every year. I have a basement full of Halloween decorations.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's kind of a problem.
Are you doing the whole setup like into the yard, into the like...
Oh, everything.
Okay.
Yard, house, like most of the regular house stuff goes away.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you...
It's like that.
Wow. So you this is a total home transformation for this time.
Yes.
And then it all just goes... How soon after the spooky season ends is this stuff going back to basement land? Back to the land that spiders normally exist in.
We usually like within the week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
get
fast
it up
turnaround.
and get it down. Yeah, we love holidays. Any excuse to decorate and have people over. Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's guaranteed a good time. And I wanted to bring this up, even though this is going to definitely come out in November. I feel like this is sort of our Halloween episode a little bit.
Perfect.
And also just to highlight how fantastically bad I am at timing these things out, because I very easily could have fixed this sooner. I also wanted to bring it out because I moved recently. I have a place to live that is different than the place that I used to live. No qualifiers there. It's truly a statement of fact that we can all agree on, all the parties involved. And it's been a while since I moved, and I noticed that my YouTube targeted ads, which are now unavoidable, have changed. And I am now being served targeted ads for a tech startup cremation business.
Oh, what does that even mean?
Well, this is a company that has of course, the single noun name. Maybe I should just say the name rather than trying to. It's a company called After, which is already a kind of. I don't know if that's the one. I don't know if you should be going with that one, friends. But good one. I guess
better than what I was thinking.
Please give me your pitch for the alternative name for this company.
I mean, I was thinking all sorts of morbid things. Smoke. Fire.
Oh boy. These are not the ones I feel like you want to lean into.
No, definitely
in
not.
The cremation business. That's a little too forward, I feel like.
Way too.
It's also been interesting to kind of watch over the past like 2 months the progression of these ads, because it's every single time I watch a YouTube video I get served one of these. So they are absolutely convinced that I am in need of funerary services. I think.
Do they know something you don't?
I hope not. I really hope not.
Creepy.
But the progression starting today has been like it started very solemn, and now today it is literally just they served me an ad that was full of bits, like comedy bits.
What?
And I don't know. Like, they're kind of taking a page out of the insurance company playbook where it's like, this should be a serious business, but this is really the wrong track.
Yeah. definitely. Oh, that ain't right.
The thing about it too is like the way that the company is pitching itself is it's like pre-planning for your own funeral,
Okay.
which is a little terrifying as well. Because it does kind of suggest that maybe if I continue to live here, like, is this commercial a threat to me?
I
Like,
think
is
it
this
might
company
be.
trying to
That's
kill
what
me?
I'm concerned about. I mean, it is one of the inevitabilities of life, but
Yeah. Still, I mean, I'm not that far gone, I hope.
tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Yeah, that's true enough. I mean, I could walk right out there and get hit by the Max just right now. It could happen. I don't look when I cross that street.
Oh my gosh, Sean.
It's a dangerous time. The other thing I was thinking about in relation to this problem, though, is like, this is not the first time I've been targeted for funeral services. At like the last apartment that I lived in before the one I moved out of, I would regularly get mail addressed to somebody else, but like direct mail for mortuary services.
What?
Where they were like sending out a postcard saying like, hey, do you want 20% off your funeral? Which is a good deal. Let's not get it twisted. That is definitely a good one, but still, it's...
Well, you're prepaying, I guess, for your post-mortem life, huh?
Yeah. So all the companies are convinced every other place that I live that I'm either about to die or that really that I'm about to die and that I need to take some stock of myself. The universe might be directing this.
When I was house hunting, I looked at a house that was right next to... No, I wasn't house hunting.
You
I was
weren't
just
on the
messing
television show
around.
House Hunters?
No. I was just messing around. And, there was a house for sale right behind the crematory.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, that's a bit of a vibe killer, I feel like, every day if you're waking up, next to that. Like, I feel like you drive by a place like that, you can kind of avoid thinking about
Yes.
the
But when you're,
activity
like,
happening there.
Out there gardening,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, smokestack's going, huh? Okay. Yeah.
I mean, your plants are probably really fertile.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But
maybe not. I don't know what they burn in there.
Yeah.
Embalming fluid and stuff. I don't know.
Oh God.
Toxic.
Oh God. It seems like a dangerous time. Yeah, I think about that too in relation to like there used to be a bunch of like mortuaries around town, and now all of them have been torn down and replaced with apartment buildings. How many people don't know that they're living on a like mortuary?
Yeah, and what is in the ground and the energy? I'm big believer in energy, so
yeah, truly. I mean, these might be haunted apartment buildings, brand new haunted apartment buildings.
Yes, that can happen.
Really? You think so?
Yeah. New buildings can totally be haunted.
Do you think the ghosts are happier there because they're like, oh, I was gonna be angry, but actually, like, wow, they have a dishwasher in every apartment, and like. I mean, the washer dryer is like small, but it's like it's your own and it's not coin op. That's pretty good.
Hard to say. I mean, if the ghosts were from before when we had dishwashers, they.
You mean to tell me, forsooth, that I can put my dirty dishes into this device, and as if God himself touched them, they can be cleaned? Magic. Witchcraft, I dare say.
Definitely witchcraft.
Although I'm dead, so what do I care? Am I this concerned with the living's sort of business at this stage? It feels like I can kind of do whatever. Why am I really getting into this? The petty ghosts. Maybe that's just it. The ghosts are petty.
Takes all types.
The ghost of Richard Petty. He's hanging out. He's hanging out in my apartment. Have you ever lived in a haunted place?
Well, I don't believe I've lived in a haunted place, but I do have a friend who is sensitive.
Oh.
And she has told me that we have a spirit in the house.
In your house?
In my house. In my house that I own.
Is it an older house? Is it that kind of...
1908.
Okay, yeah, that's plenty of time.
And the spirit talks to her, and she will ask if it's cool,
Yeah.
or if I want to hear what's up. And the spirit had told her there was something going on in the northwest corner of my home.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, totally. I have to get my sewer redone. Like, I know, ghosts. I know how we call it the house spirit.
I've been checking in there. It seems like there's like a buildup. You should.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I as a ghost want to just kind of save you the money of like dealing with a contractor like after this is too much of a problem.
I just figured it was upset that it knew, because I had to cut through the whole basement floor to rerun a sewer line because we're on a party line.
Oh, God.
Which is the opposite of a party.
No, it's very unfun.
Yeah, unfun. So I was like, yeah, whatever, totally. Then, I don't know, a couple months later, the upstairs bathroom started leaking into the kitchen.
Oh.
So I am like pretty convinced that's what the spirit was trying to say. It had nothing to do with the sewer and getting a new sewer line, and upset that the basement floor was going to get cut.
This is literally a ghost that is potentially a plumber or something, knows that there's issues that, a backlog of upstairs plumbing issues.
Exactly.
And once it gets through the floor, then that's more of a problem.
Oh, it was a problem.
I don't have to tell you that, though.
It was a problem. It's no longer a problem.
Oh, boy.
So, house spirit, yes, and our friend can't say necessarily whether it's like a person or just like a general energy in the house. But we live with the house spirit.
Well, I'm glad that your house spirit is at least being generous to you. Yeah. And I hope your house spirit is definitely enjoying the spooky times that are going on right now.
We really like to think that house spirit does.
Yeah.
Likes to have a full house.
Oh, man. Those houses on Full House were so old. I bet there's all kinds of spooky ghosts.
Oh yeah, and probably same era as my house.
Yeah,
because the big earthquake in San Francisco was like 1906, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember reading, because I think the houses where they shot the exteriors for Full House, like the park in front of it is like a big essentially cemetery for victims of the earthquake.
Yeah, I believe that. I just know a lot of their houses and stuff are same era as mine.
Yeah.
1908.
Wow.
That was the rebuild. Yeah, San Francisco has a lot of fascinating history, actually, with cemeteries and bodies. And
oh, yeah.
Isn't there like a seawall made of headstones?
Oh, is there?
And they moved the bodies from San Francisco. I don't believe you can bury people in San Francisco anymore. I could be wrong about that.
I think you're right. I think they all have to be in South San Francisco.
Yes. So they moved them to a different city.
Yeah.
Outside of San Francisco.
That's pretty wild. I mean, we used to have more cemeteries here. Like, I know there used to be a cemetery in Old Town, like the very first Portland cemetery was like now where like the Max station is around the fountain.
So it's haunted.
Yeah. And I think there was also a cemetery that they sort of semi-discovered when they were like digging out the 405.
Oh my gosh.
Like around Burnside.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I thought they had to halt construction when that kind of stuff happened.
Nah,
not back then.
In other parts of the world, not here. Here they're just like, I don't know.
Keep digging.
We'll figure it out. Also, I'm here to fix your plumbing. Sorry. A ghost told me to come. I communicate with ghosts. I'm the star of the television show Medium. You haven't watched that show in a long time because you don't have broadcast television, but I'm on it now. Everyone else left. It's me. My name's Mario. I don't know. This is nothing. My trademark character, Mario.
I love it. The ghost of Mario.
The ghost of Mario. R.I.P. We knew him so well. Now he's haunting his brother, who's also afraid of ghosts. So bad.
Oh my gosh.
I guess that's where we're going to transition out of this bit.
Ghost.
Good God.
Yeah, is it my great grandpa?
So Celestia, you were one of my students back in the day. I think that was like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, you know, I saw you sort of at the end of your design education career, but like where did you start with design? Like, what got you into this to begin with?
Well, always knew I wanted to be an artist. My dad was a 5th and 6th grade teacher growing up at a local elementary school, but he was also a wood and stone sculptor.
Oh, really?
Yes. So my dad has always been an artist, and it wasn't weird or anything for me to want to be an artist growing up.
Yeah. The gate was already open.
Yeah.
You
No
weren't being
problem.
pressured into economics or something like that.
No, not pressured into school or anything. In high school, they kind of cut a lot of programs, and art was one of those. So I started, I think they had some sort of deal with Lane Community College, as in Eugene. I could take art classes at the community college.
Oh, interesting.
So I did part-time at the community college and part-time in traditional high school. So I started doing art classes, figure drawing, figure sculpture.
Figure sculpture?
Yeah, really hard.
You gotta hold that pose for a while.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure it was figure sculpture.
I mean, it seems like it would be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be what I'm not a sculptor. I have no clue. The closest thing I've ever sculpted was making my car trunk out of cardboard.
Excuse me?
That was we had to take like a 3D design class, probably kind of similar to maybe ones that you had to take at Lane, but like ours were out of cardboard because the university did not have money for better materials.
Okay.
So it was like, find a thing that you have in your life. And the teacher specifically suggested car part because it was a commuter school. And so everybody had a car. And I had this giant car, this like Mercury Grand Marquis, which is like an old police cruiser.
Okay.
And all the car parts are just like massive. So the trunk was like the smallest continuous part that I could make. And it was like basically twice as big as I was.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Less engaging to make than probably figure sculpture. I'm going to just throw out there.
So I realized like I am not a fine artist. As hard as I tried, not into it. I need like more tools and stuff to help me out. So I did know that I wanted to get my AOT, Associate of Arts Oregon transfer degree. So then I could have some time to kind of figure it out. My mom worked at the community college also while I was there, so I got a sweet deal.
Yeah.
Which helped with all of that. And getting into art classes, one of my pieces, well, a series of pieces I have here.
Was this sort of in the high school like transition period, or was this after you
I think this was like right after.
Okay.
So I always felt like I didn't like fully fit in. It's kind of a non-traditional school, people of all ages from all over the place.
And Lane's a little out of Eugene.
Oh
too.
yeah, it's
like
out of Eugene.
Even...
It's like right off I-5.
Yeah.
And the bus ride like takes forever to get out there, and like good luck. There's no like good bike way to bike out there. It's like very dangerous to bike out there actually.
Yeah.
And I was bike and bus commuter, still am. And I made these pieces, which are, let's see, they're very like black and white, very graphic paper cuts.
Yeah. Are these like for like contrast studies?
I think so. I can't exactly remember what it was for. It was for some sort of art class. It wasn't in the graphic design program yet. Ooh, my craft is like kind of hilarious on some of these, but
I mean, this is one of your very first classes. And you're doing extremely complex things. To tell the viewer, like these are pretty detailed, like I think they're construction paper.
Yeah,
is that right?
just
Like
straight up.
And you have done like this pretty complicated, like layered line work in some of them, like like kind of stacking individual lines, creating textures and like strong visuals with different weights. And then some of them you actually have curved shapes, which are pretty like accurately round. I have to think that you had like a protractor or something.
Yeah. Hard to say.
Yeah.
But so I showed up to class with my final pieces here, and it was clear that like I was kind of doing something different than what everybody else was doing.
Yeah, what was everyone else doing for this?
I think they were just like much more basic and not as like over the top. I don't know if we had to have a series of, I mean, how many do we even have here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 pieces here. Like, I don't know if that's what was required at all.
Oh,
I was just clearly like digging it.
You maybe just kept going.
I think I might have just, overachiever in me, just like go, go, go. So I realized I was different than the other art students, which is fine. So I had already made it through the AAOT program for, I don't know, a little while at this point. And I went to San Francisco. My dad's side of the family's from the Bay, too. So shout out San Francisco. And I remember going to a shop in the Mission District, and I really loved like how it was set up, the window displays. I think it was some like paper craft stuff, which is kind of my jam. And I asked when I was checking out, this shop looks so great. Like, who does it or whatever? And they're like, oh, we have a graphic designer who does it for us, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, graphic designer. I had no clue. I had no clue what a graphic designer was or anything like that. I was 21. No clue. So I go back to Eugene from my birthday trip, changed my major, got enrolled in the graphic design program.
Just like that.
Just like that. I was like,
wow.
Okay, yes, perfect. I can be more focused. And then I saw the instructor for these paper cut pieces. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, I just enrolled in the graphic design program. He was like, oh, you weren't already? Gosh darn it. Like, if somebody could have just told me.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, it seems like a step could have been removed there. Although you had, in a way, like, having done some of that same stuff in the instruction side of being like, oh, yeah, you should maybe consider this major or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does work better to have the person discover it on their own because like nobody listens to me. Let's be honest.
Totally.
Same of every teacher. It's not just my problem.
Yeah. I just didn't even know it existed. I didn't have a word for the type of art that I am interested in.
Yeah.
So got enrolled in the graphic design program at Lane, and that is when this beautiful CD. I have a CD here.
Yes.
Mixtape.
Compact disc in a jewel case.
in a the ASMR.
That nice.
Is that good?
I think
Does
the
this make a
ASMR.
noise?
Ooh. Jewel cases did make such fascinating and like satisfying sounds. People who have lived in the era of completely digital music, you don't know how tactile everything used to be.
Oh, I'm a big record collector too, actually. So I'm still like very much into the tactile music packaging.
It's a whole experience, and you don't get to have that from just a, like a 600 by 600 JPEG in the corner of Spotify.
No. So my love for music packaging, you would never know by the design of the CD. I can't remember exactly what the assignment was.
Was this in like one of your first design classes?
One of my first design classes.
Okay.
So this was, I don't know, maybe 2009 or 10.
Okay.
And it has like a grid. Okay, you can actually I made a Spotify playlist.
Oh,
I made a Spotify playlist of this CD.
after the fact or before?
Yesterday. Yesterday. So I could listen to this mixtape. Because it's a CD. Where am I supposed to listen to this?
I no longer have a device that plays those.
I really needed to listen to this mixtape. I was sure that everybody in my class was I was gonna make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like, this is me in a nutshell, like over the top, weird, like vintage stuff from my room, my ceramic troll chia pet down here. I still have Trolley to this day.
Oh my gosh.
He lives in my kitchen. I love Trolley.
Pre-redesigned trolls.
But like, I thought this was just me to a freaking T. Like, we got my little Celestia Gray stencil. I loved spray painting that stencil and just like whatever, my little tag here.
Did you scan it in? And
I think I think these photos must have been taken because we didn't have, smartphones or anything.
Yeah.
At least I didn't. I think
didn't
it was
either.
taken with a Nikon Coolpix, which was a point and shoot camera,
Uh-huh.
which at the time I got it, it was like state of the freaking art, like hundreds of dollars for this camera.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's probably 90% of the images that are still on Flickr are shot with those.
Oh my God.
Like,
Yes.
I'm sure that's
Yes.
like the number
Yes.
one like camera brand, the Nikon Coolpix.
And I found it in my basement when I was digging through stuff. Also, I was like, why do I have this? It's just like electronic trash, but I can't get rid of it.
Well, no.
I can't.
That battery's some serious e-waste for
can't.
sure, too.
So I like took some random photos of textures and things around my room, and then I have this like, what is that like American typewriter?
I believe it is. So in the center, you have a circular mirror, a very Wes Anderson-y looking circular mirror, too, as was the style at the time.
Yes.
And typeset in that is My Room, the title of the
Room.
CD. Sort of why you have all the things of your room in there.
Yeah, like everyone is going to understand this is where I spend my time. This is like how I associate myself to the world. So the back is set like also horribly in American typewriter. I have like a double hyphen for a M dash with a horrible space in front of it. No different weights or anything. It is all just straight up American typewriter. The delineation between
You've gone for an
artist.
interesting alignment there, which
What
is sort
am
of
I doing?
center like as the tab of the between the like artist and the song title.
Just bizarre.
Makes for an interesting rag. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It's cut off on
Yeah.
the left-hand side.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. It's probably just poor craft, but
Well, you didn't know what you know now.
no, not at all.
No.
I think I've got this printed at Kinko's, to do it myself. And yesterday, when listening to this, you can find it. I think it's Celestia Grace Spotify, titled "My Room." I put a photo of the cover image on there. So if you're just like dying to know, that's the cover image.
Maybe I will link to this playlist.
Gosh, okay. It's like, okay, so it's not even like the pacing of the playlist is bad.
Oh, really?
Like, oh yeah,
It's-
I was still angsty. I was still going through like late teen, early 20s angst.
Makes
So
sense.
this like does not represent me as like a music listener and lover, like except for a very small period of time.
Yeah.
And the artists that are on here, like, it's not even their bangers necessarily. Like, it starts with the yeah, yeahs, 10 by 10.
Of which you are wearing their shirt today.
And I wore this in honor of that, actually, because
as penance.
I think the major accomplishment of this mixtape is that I have seen most of these artists now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Actually live?
Yes,
Wow.
actually live. I have seen, This was the most recent of the artists to see, but like, I don't super listen to this kind of music anymore.
Well,
so.
a lot of the artist names that I saw were very of their time, though, too.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, you that's like, you're a young person in 2009, like, and even the style of the album, like, I think is very much like, it's referencing things that are actively happening in the world, like that Wes Anderson aesthetic, like.
Yes.
And I'm sure, like, probably the storefront in San Francisco was very similar, too. Like, these were aesthetics that were
charming.
like on the rise at that moment. And so, like,
totally,
you're immersing yourself in the culture.
And just patterns,
Yeah.
like whatever I could get in there, color, all sorts of color, just like jam it in there.
Yeah, it's a different kind of maximalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have moved away from that, and I hope I never go back there again. Like, I am very much a wear all black, like keep it simple and modern kind of person.
Well,
so
you say that, but the aesthetics of my youth, the early 2000s, are unfortunately back. And 10 years from now, almost certainly that stuff is going to be back now, too.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming, Sean. I think we're pretty close in age here. Yeah. And also another hilarious part of this project is that there is, of course, the CD you can actually listen to. And then there is a CD of PSD files.
Oh, were you required to turn in
I
your...
believe
Wow.
so. And I'm curious how these files were even built. Like, and I had never been good at Photoshop. I'm much better now, but
I also I know we were doing some goofs about this. I want to call out the ambition of those labels themselves, because the mirror is a key element of the front of the packaging, like that center
of all
mirror.
of it.
But like, you've actually gone through the trouble of like labeling these CDs with the mirror that goes all the way to the center spindle. It's not just like a label that you get at, you know, at Office Max or something. Like, how did you even do that?
It might be a legit label.
Like, it looks really good. It's like kind of semi-gloss from what I could tell over here. Like,
probably because it was laser printed.
But I would not expect much more from, like, you know, a Conor Oberst CD of that era. Which I think would also have a spooky mirror on it.
Oh gosh, yes, that was my childhood heart for sure. Just teen angst, just so hard.
There was a lot of angst in the air at that moment, though.
Yeah.
It's not just you.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
I mean, what were we doing? What were we doing?
We thought the world couldn't get much worse. Oh, friends. Oh,
so
what sweet summer children we were.
Not a care in the world. Jeez Louise. So, yeah, I made it through the program at Lane, and I knew that I had the technical skills.
Yes.
Concept was missing.
Which is often the case for transfers. That's, you know, like community colleges are often training folks to be like able to do work at the production level like right as soon as they get out. And that means you got to speed past certain things.
Yep, exactly. So I knew I wanted to get the concept end of things more and dive deeper into graphic design. And so I decided to transfer to PSU to get my graphic design degree here. And I was focused. I did research on my teachers and
really?
Who did I think that I would vibe with and, you know, be mentored by and connect with. Because I came here, I don't know, I was 24 or something maybe. So I was already I was focused. I had already had those messing around years where I was trying to figure out myself and finally found my clear path.
And you're moving to a new city. You're moving to a much, much bigger city.
Yes. So even starting here at PSU was like a little rough, moving to a new city. My apartment was not ready for me.
That's a problem. You do need to live in an apartment of some kind.
I stayed at the hostel in Northwest.
The one
for...
that was also what I did when I was waiting for student housing to open up for me. Yeah.
Look at us, Sean.
The Northwest Guest House.
Yep.
Thank goodness for
Yep.
you.
I stayed there for, well, I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks, but I stayed there for 1 week. It was really hard to get my homework done. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was like over ambitious. I was in the class where you did like a title sequence.
Oh, wait, so I do want to back up though. You are like,
I was in class.
you were in class
Yeah.
in the hostel
Yes.
in like dorm beds?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. In the women's, there's like a women's room that's
Yeah.
like 8 beds or whatever. So I didn't really have space to work, but
I
really-
remember that being a somewhat chaotic environment.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a big building.
No, alarms going off in someone's locker. No one can get to it.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's snoring, whatever. But I had the genius idea. I mentioned earlier, like I'm into paper crafting and stuff. And
Yeah.
I made a lot of like artist books. I really like bookbinding and that kind of stuff. So coming out of Lane, I was still kind of in like the bookbinding, and that's what can make me be like different than other design students.
Yeah.
But I had the genius idea of making a freaking artist book for my title sequence.
Oh, that is actually very clever.
So I was like hand cutting out all sorts of stuff. I remember going to like Paper Source and getting like colorful papers and like, you know, all the supplies I needed. But to do bookbinding, you really need like a space of your own.
Yeah, it's kind of a spread out
Yeah.
profession. You kind of need some key equipment that you probably don't want to leave unlocked in the hostel.
Yes, exactly. So I was always like a little wild, little overly ambitious, always doing something like a little weird and unexpected, but like I didn't realize it was weird and unexpected until time to present.
Yeah, no one else had a bound book for their title sequence.
No.
I mean, was it successful? Like, did you get?
Yeah. I think so. It was pretty like basic and straightforward, but I knew that I wanted to continue like doing bookbinding and that kind of stuff. And I got my first internship here in Portland. I think that was one of the projects that probably like, you know, kicked me off on that. So
You're showing your ambition.
yeah.
Were you like?
Then I'm weird.
Were you? What was the turnaround time between like that project and getting that internship? Was it like?
You know, that's a good question. I don't remember, but it was before I hit the review.
Yeah.
So I gave myself a year between coming to PSU and preparing for the review. I knew I was going to be too weird if I came in only with my community college stuff, like, and artist books. And I knew that was going to be like a little too out of the box. I mean, maybe not, but I wanted to make sure I passed.
Yeah, I think fair, and I think like because you were coming to it late too, like it made sense to give yourself a little bit more space to explore this field.
Yeah, totally. So then I passed the review. Thankfully, it wasn't too painful. I did get an artist book in there also, which was cool. So I did show some work from a previous graphic design program.
That's good.
Yeah, very good. And then I slowly but surely made it through the final 2 years of the PSU GD program here.
As you were doing your internship too.
Oh yeah. Yep. That wasn't my first internship either. Actually, I had an internship in Eugene.
Oh, really?
In the graphic design program. Yeah, I actually had an internship for a web designer. And I had my first job as a graphic designer in Eugene also.
Holy
before
shit. So
coming to Portland.
You had a lot of stuff coming up here.
Yeah. I actually left my coffee shop barista job. I was a barista for almost 4 years. And one of my clients at the coffee shop, she needed someone to design decks.
Yeah.
Presentation decks for, and it was more money than I ever thought I could even make. And I was like,
Wow.
heck yeah, okay, I'm out of here. Like, I was already planning on moving to Portland, so it was time. It was time to like transition and then transition again. So near the end of PSU GD, so I was feeling like pretty comfortable here, feeling good about my design work, feeling good about like program skills, technical skills, that kind of stuff. Feeling pretty okay about like concept. And near the end of my time here at PSU, I had kind of a humiliating like failure situation.
Really?
So I think it was 320 or something.
Like the information design class?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
So the project was I think we had to make some sort of a campaign.
Okay.
Some sort of a campaign, and you were to present your initial ideas to like some designers in the community.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So my initial idea, let's see here. I'm glad I could find this presentation.
You've pulled up your original deck from this project that I assume was to present to the community.
Yes. So this was to present to, it was a pretty hip small studio here in town that we were supposed to get feedback from. And so my whole concept was about like good beer versus bad beer. Like, I have a lot of friends who drink crappy beer. Like, why are they drinking crappy beer?
Yeah.
Like, I come from Eugene, the home of Ninkasi and Oakshire, and what do we have? Hop Valley, like good beer.
Yeah, it's readily available here and often not very expensive if you know where to look.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more about like eating and drinking locally and supporting local businesses and having, sustainable, organic. I don't know about healthy, but probably healthier, than some like GMO grain,
Yeah.
So sure, give that to you. So anyways, I presented this campaign to get people to drink better beer. And I already had some like basic ideas, colors, some like just quick little logos, some like typography, just some stuff that I like wanted feedback on, right? Not too bad or anything.
No, seems very straightforward. It feels like a good pitch deck to me.
Right?
Yeah.
They tore me apart.
Okay.
Oh gosh, they just went off on me. I was mortified.
Oh.
I was totally mortified. They basically were like, scrap it.
All of it.
There's
nothing
like
salvageable.
nothing in here.
Oh.
Like, it was horrible.
That's an interesting approach.
It was the most humiliated I've ever been like presenting anything. So, being the overachiever that I am, I was like, okay, well, crap. I can't just like remix this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get a good grade if I don't come back and do something different.
Did they even like give you anything that would give you a ground to stand on for
No.
what? Oh, good.
And
that's a good situation.
And I remember they did it to someone else also.
Oh, boy.
So I wasn't the only one, but like I was feeling pretty confident, and it just like took me down. I don't really like public speaking or anything like that, but it was horrible. So I came back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna like do something different. It's no longer like a mail campaign or whatever. I'm gonna do a board game to educate people about beer.
A great idea.
Yeah. And actually,
wow.
I think it turned out really fun, personally.
Yeah. So you've taken out a box. It is a
Like,
huge box.
You can really see my craft has come together here.
Yeah. You've got... Oh, this board is gorgeous.
Right?
You know what the right materials to use for these things, too.
Yeah.
Like,
a book board. This is like
proper
some
thick book board.
hardcore book board. And then there's like answers and like
Good little spinner
trivia.
that actually spins?
Yeah, I just like remixed
for the, like,
some other spinner.
different styles of beer.
Yeah. And I made like
What?
little
Oh my
different styles
gosh.
of beer glasses.
The little game pieces are different beer glasses.
Yeah. So, here we go. That explains like the game pieces
Okay.
and like the different pieces of the board.
So it's like it's part education about like what the utility of each of these are and like that kind of thing, but it's
Yeah.
also like, trying to get people inspired and excited about beers.
Yeah, and get educated, you
Yeah.
know. And I think is it a drinking game too? I think it might be.
Let's see. All players spin to see who goes first by spinning the highest number. The first player starts at the top circle. Players may, for each correct answer, mark 1 point and take a drink. Players may only drink when points are awarded or be punished by a 1 point deduction.
Ooh.
So I guess if you drink, am I reading
not
that right?
too much.
If you drink when you are not awarded a point, then
You're in
lose
trouble.
a point?
Yes. Yes, you need to learn. You the only way you can drink is if you're learning here, apparently. But yeah, so that turned out like really fun.
This is
major
such a-
pivot from the campaign.
You have a
pitch.
whole like set of trivia cards and stuff over there.
Mhm.
Like this must have taken forever to put
Yes.
together. Like a game is not a small project.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And you've already probably lost half the term doing the pitch. So you're turning this around in essentially half the time that the project would normally take.
Yeah, I really like
Wow.
that. Just like added fuel to my fire
Yeah.
to like really come back and be like, okay, well, I'll show them.
Yeah.
I'll show them. I'm gonna just like bust my butt on this thing.
Yeah.
But the great thing that came out of this actually is at Fresh, our PSU graduating class portfolio show,
Yeah.
I met one of my greatest freelance clients to this day,
Really?
who has sent me the most clients.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was this board game because he was trying to do like a gamification of something on a website. And I was the only one with, something weird. Game.
This is talk about like a success, like turnaround.
Yes.
Did you ever hear back from those original people? Like, did they ever have a second look at this, or was that just
No, I don't believe, and that's even funny too, because I
Wait,
don't
what?
believe,
That's
I
weird.
don't believe there was follow up. I
Huh.
could be wrong, but
So-
I don't think so.
these people just got to go like, well, off
Yeah.
I go. I'll never
Yeah.
see any of you again.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
I don't think that's how it works anymore.
yeah. I don't know, but it caused me to completely pivot, and in the end, it turned out really positive. And I'm still working on like my public speaking skills and presenting skills to this day. Always going to be a struggle.
Well, it's the hardest thing to do.
It's difficult.
In one of my classes, my show and tell class, I do a survey at the beginning because you have to do some public speaking in that class.
Yeah.
How many people are excited about public speaking? And I would say it is robustly in a class where more are excited than usual. 15% are even okay with the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It's hard. You get into this because you're thinking visually. You're not thinking about, the cell necessarily.
Yes. And now I am more comfortable with that over the years, like doing freelance stuff. I really like to work with clients who I vibe with on a personal level. I work with a lot of women-run businesses, small businesses, local businesses, usually more Eugene area, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Keeping it close to home.
Yeah, keeping it close. That's where I feel like my strengths are. But having chill corporate clients, like, I've gotten more comfortable with that
Yeah.
over the last handful of years.
So after you graduate, like where do you go next? What sort of takes you into your career?
Well, I got hired on doing a lot of like logos and stuff for more like feel good clients, I guess you'd say. Some like nonprofits and small businesses and that kind of thing, events. Then I went freelance for a while.
Yeah.
I have a like history of working in a studio and then freelance and then working and freelance. So
that's normal.
yeah,
though.
totally. I enjoy freelance, but the business management part of it is just like not sustainable for me. I can do it for a while, but
You got to
not
wear
forever.
a lot of hats.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's tiring and your head gets hot.
Definitely. So I started working for another local studio here, and that was the first like corporate big name clients that stuff that I worked on. And that studio split, and I went with one half and continued doing that work. So I did that same work for like 4 years or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for a while. So I actually really enjoyed the corporate production with a sprinkle of like fun, creative activities in there a couple times a year. But
There's a certain straightforwardness to that, which can be nice.
Yes.
Especially, I mean, I've definitely done the nonprofit client hustle in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's certainly more chaotic, you know.
Yes. And you got to balance your money out too.
Yeah.
So it can't all be, feel good clients. You do.
No,
like,
they have no money.
Yeah.
They have zero money.
Yeah, you got to make money somewhere.
Yeah.
So then I did that for, through early pandemic.
Really?
Yeah. I made it through the first like bit of the pandemic, and then everything really kind of like came tumbling down.
Oh.
And I went freelance again. After that, I was on contract for over a year at a large agency here in town, which is the first time I worked at like an agency.
Oh, yeah.
So I was contract designer for them. So that was really interesting coming from the small studio world.
Yeah.
So I think I'm still like very curious about what else there is in that world.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what's next for me, but I think getting out of freelance and moving back towards committing myself as a full-time employee somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have an incredible like sense of craft to your work, and that is such a great grounding for doing so many things.
Yeah.
Like, so you're wanting more corporate type roles moving forward, like agency, bigger.
Yeah, I'm open to that.
Yeah.
I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
I've just gotten like a little taste of agency life for a year, just a little bit.
Just one of those little ooh.
So, but I'm open to going whatever route. Really, I'm not quite sure yet.
Yeah. Well, the road is open, as they say.
Finding my community, I think that's the next. That's the major theme of my whole life.
Yeah.
My graphic design career is really about community.
Yeah.
It's important. Community, relationships, mentoring, all of those things have allowed me to get where I am. And I want to feel like I am a part of a community.
You know, you're always a part of this community.
We're better together.
We literally now have a mural upstairs that says "Better Together."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt it. It was in my bones.
Yeah. It's this building, like asbestos, gets into your bloodstream via your lungs, and then, it never
it's
leaves.
with you forever.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Just to be clear, there's no asbestos in this building as far as we're aware, so don't...
Definitely not looking at ceiling tiles that
These
may
are
or may not.
I will say, these are not the variety of ceiling tiles that have the asbestos. Certain buildings...
Okay, good to know.
The ones that are like glued on, the little 12-inch tiles, those are...
Okay, those are the ones I have in my basement.
Asbestos. Oh yeah, don't touch those or screw anything into them. Yeah, those things are almost exclusively made out of asbestos, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
thank
they
you.
told me that.
Thank you so much for being a guest on Asbestos Chat here. The number one podcast to turn to when you're wanting to identify asbestos source materials in your home or business. I hope you had a good time on and you learned something
Asbestos
about
Chat.
asbestos. If folks want to find more about your work, Celestia, where can they go to do that?
Well, as it is the season of change, like I was saying, working on my portfolio right now.
Yes.
But that's celestiagrace.com. And you can find me on the Instagrams at Celestia Grace. Also, not super active on there. I'm kind of social media, taking a back seat to like me actually living my life.
I think that's a better sense of balance.
You can find me on the streets.
Which streets, we don't know, because the road signs got stolen.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Somewhere,
one of them. I think there's a lot of folks in that boat. It's been rarer and rarer that people actually have an active social media account to plug in this section.
Yeah, it just has some like personal photos, and every once in a while I'll post a story or something, but
Yeah.
that's about it. I traded my social media in for Duolingo.
Oh, hey, how you doing? Also, what are you learning?
Spanish,
good.
Gotta keep it going. I've been learning Spanish since like 6th grade, and it's still horrible forever. But I'm like over 750 days.
Wow.
Straight, yeah.
That's pretty good. And you had knowledge going into it too,
Yes.
which I feel like helps.
Yes, it does.
You don't have to relearn the word for apple over and over and over again.
Mm-mm. Could always work on my accent though. That's one of the things.
Well, Duolingo doesn't help for that very much.
Not really.
I went to Portugal over spring break to be in a conference, and I learned Portuguese through Duolingo. And I feel like I learned a lot. And then I got there and I tried to say it for the first time aloud, and no one knew what I was saying.
Oh, gosh.
And I did just have to speak English most of the time. Granted, there is a problem that I also didn't realize, which is it is Brazilian Portuguese that you learn through Duolingo, and that is different.
Yes. Okay. Woo.
Yeah.
Hey, you tried. You tried.
I put a lot of effort into something that didn't quite work. That didn't quite make sense for where I was going because I didn't look into it enough. That's unfortunately how I learn languages. So don't invite me to a foreign country because I won't learn the correct language. Yeah.
He'll try.
I'll try and fail. I don't know if I learned English yet. Well, thank you so much for being here, Celestia. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And it's
Sean.
really good to see you.
Yes.
And now I need to find the things that I say at the end. Hey, if you're out there listening to this, thank you for listening to it and for hearing it and for looking at it, because I think you probably have to look at it on your phone unless you have some other way of doing it that I am not aware of. It's possible. If you like the show, whether you're an old listener or a new listener or a future listener who's become unstuck in time and is trying to like find shows that like are going to ground you in time, this is probably not the one to look at for that. I would maybe look at some like, theoretical physics podcasts. I think those are probably going to give you more relevant information, but who am I to tell you what your business is? Anyway, you can subscribe to this show by searching for the words that are in the title, but you can also pay a visit to our website, dididothat.design. You can get links to all the platforms from there and find some good images that go along with each and every episode, including this one. We can also be found on various social media platforms, such as Instagram, such as YouTube, and such as the one and only LinkedIn. Make LinkedIn weird again, 2023. I'm Sean Schumacher. This is Did I Do That? And as we always say at the end of every episode,
Drink more water.
drink more water. Okay, that's what we always say. Bye.
Bye. So easy and fun. Photoshop now.
Yeah.
I tried it out the other day. I could not even believe it. It freaked me out.
It's become a little startling. The day will come, like my weird Photoshop disasters to promote the show. I'm sure, like, I will just be able to type in a prompt to something and it'll make this nightmare art for me.
That's what it's doing.
I fear that a little bit because it's like, I mean, it's not a money-making vehicle for me, those things. But if it ever were, then I would be out of work.
I mean, I still have faith that the photo retouchers are always going to do a better job.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes when I have to be the photo retoucher, then we got a situation.
Well, but I feel like you are not going to insert extra fingers onto people's hands, say.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.